Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another Last Epoch video. This one is another unique deep dive for the Black Blade of Chaos. And before we go any further, the gameplay that you're watching was taken on Black Blade Rive, a build that I am working on here in Season 2, and it was taken at Corruption 800. Thank you very much. So, Black Blade of Chaos. Why are people talking about this? You might have even heard about this weapon. Why? Out of nowhere. It's been kind of niche. I used it in Cycle 1.1 for a Rive build, Black Blade Rive, which was pretty popular. I went more for the aesthetic in that one. The weapon's good. The weapon's fine. It was actually better in Cycle 1.1, in my opinion. We'll get into that later. For a Rive build. So let's talk about this right now. So it is being used for a Javelin build that Captain Noobzor put out, and it was reviewed by Frozen Sentinel. And in this build, he absolutely just shreds Aberoth very quickly. If you want to see that, I don't want to take anything from them. If you're interested in that particular build, because this isn't going to be anything about it, this is going to be talking about the Black Blade of Chaos specifically. If you're interested in that build, I know I'm all over the place. Link in the description down below. Thank you. So, appearing on your screen here very shortly, if not now, should be a screenshot for the Black Blade of Chaos. Feel free to pause the video real quickly. Take a look at it. It'll disappear here in a moment. And I'm going to read off what it does. So here's the one that I am currently using. Black Blade of Chaos. It is an Odachi, base. 70 melee damage all the way up to 170 melee critical strike multiplier. Very nice. As far as I'm aware of, like, it does have 2 LP. I've only ever gotten him in 1 LP. I'm guessing it's a little rare. Requires level 72. I'm sure 2 LP is possible, but I'm using a 1 LP variant. You can slam this with whatever you want. I'm going for Melee Void for this particular build. Lethal Mirage, that's more for our rogue friends over there, so we don't really have to deal with that. It gives you dexterity, which is okay, especially if you're scaling with dexterity. Here's where you can really scale with dexterity. Lightning Pin, which we're not using pretty much at all, or Void Pin, which we are using per 5 dexterity. You also get melee lightning damage, which for our build does work because we are doing melee damage. Now it's melee lightning, but it's still melee damage. And then melee void damage, which we really want. Chance to shock, which is actually not that bad for this build. And chance to inflict time rot on hit. That one right there is why this build is kind of gaining a lot of traction. That is a ton of chance to inflict time rot. And that's why people are using it. I mean, there's chances to inflict time rot in the skill tree. They're giving it more. If you're not aware, time rot got to change. So if you have more chances to inflict time rot, you actually deal more damage with time rot. So having a higher chance to inflict time rot leads to more damage. Now, the build that I'm running does not worry about that whatsoever, but this is very popular with time rot builds right now because it already has a huge chance to inflict time rot built in to the weapon. And for that matter, you know, everybody's kind of going insane over it. So let's go ahead and jump into the game. I'll give you, we'll talk about this some more. We'll see why this is really good, and then we'll go from there. Thank you very much. Let's get going. All right, here we are in game. Let's go ahead and talk about Black Blade of Chaos. So I'm going to start with the time rot stuff. I kind of covered that in the intro, but let's do a nice, unique deep dive into this. So if you guys didn't know, time rot got significant changes here in Season 2. Last cycle, they were called cycles back then. So last cycle, time rot was like any other ailment, stacked up to 12 times. Benefited from generic increases to, you know, all the normal ailment stuff. And now they wanted to make time rot feel special. It still only stacks up to 12 times, but we got all these other more multipliers. Let's break them down real quick. You gain more damage per time rot chance. Very nice. You gain more damage per slow chance with void skills. Very nice. And you gain more damage with attack or cast speed and throwing attack speed. Whatever is the lowest, that's where you get the most more damage. I'm not exactly sure what everybody's scaling, but I do know everybody's trying to scale that time rot chance, which I was a little confused at first, but now I get it. It gives you the most out of all the scaling. It gives you the most. If you look right here, we get 0.2% per 1% slow chance, and we got sources for that. You can get that from atrophies. It's a pair of gloves. You can get that from Whoa. That's a 50% slow chance right there. You know, that's a good. You can get different sources of slow chance. You can slam it onto your weapons, that sort of thing. You could also get time rot chance per 1% attack speed or cast speed, whatever your lowest is, but you can get that on your gear. You can get that from stuff like Blade Master, that sort of thing. But the time rot, there are specific sources of that. You can get time rot from rot ripples. You can get time rot from not rot grip, but echoing strikes. Let's just go ahead and type it in. Time rot. So yes, you can get time rot here, time rot here. You take reduced damage from time rotting enemies, and so on and so forth. There was actually a lot less sources of time rot last season. Another great source of time rot would be the Abyssal Echoes, right? If we go click on Abyssal Echoes, you can get time rot chance right here. But for the most part, where you're going to get the most time rot chance, the Black Blade of Chaos. You can get time rot chance on your chest piece, but that only you can only get up to 90% on your chest piece, max T7, and then max T7 on your helmet is 60% time rot chance. You can get time rot chance on your idols, but the Black Blade of Chaos is going to be the single highest source of time rot chance. That is why this weapon has skyrocketed up. Also, what they're doing with this for the time rot builds, they're using Javelin, which gives you a lot of more multipliers. If you didn't know, ailments benefit from the more multipliers, the generic more multipliers, or whatever damage multipliers from the skill that applied the ailment. In this case, Javelin has, well, as you can see, a lot. They have a lot. You can get more multipliers here, 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 here. There's a ton of more multipliers you can get. On top of that, Javelin scales with dexterity. And Black Blade of Chaos scales really well with dexterity. So what you're typically doing is stacking a lot of dexterity. You're using Black Blade of Chaos. You're trying to get one with high time rot chance. And you get all this extra void pin. Right here, you get void pin per 5 dexterity. You have a ton of dexterity. You're scaling the damage of time rot. You're scaling the damage, so on and so forth. You're getting all this extra void pin. Black Blade of Chaos went from being very niche to center frame right now. If you guys are like, if I have, made you guys super interested in this build by now, if you haven't heard of it, assuming you're still here in season 2. In the link in the description down below, as I said in the intro, to Frozen Sentinel's coverage of the build. Go ahead, check it out. I've seen multiple people playing this on Twitch streams, people that I know. It seems like it's kind of cool seeing Black Blade of Chaos getting all this attention. But let's kind of back it up. I want to talk about Black Blade of Chaos for this build that I'm playing in right now and why I think it was a little bit better in Cycle 1.1. But let's go ahead and talk about where do you get this? All right. I've told you all about the time rot. I'm about to tell you about, its application for Rive builds, but maybe you've clicked on the video and you're like, yo, Bike, where do I get it? Let me show you. If we go ahead and take a look right here, this is dropped by the Harbingers. So you can get it from the Ending the Storm timeline. This Harbinger drops it. I'm pretty sure I got all mine from killing Aberoth. Aberoth also drops it. Regular Aberoth, you can kill him. He can drop you Black Blade of Chaos. This Harbinger does drop it. It's just I don't really like farming the Lagon timeline. As you can tell, I haven't been back since. Look, here's all my here's all my stuff, right? You know, here's all my corruption and all these timelines, and nothing for ending the storm. Right. Yeah. I visited it when I was leveling when I was leveling up to get to empowers. I haven't been back since. So you can get it there, but I've gotten all mine from Aberoth. Okay. So we've gone over how you get this item. It's a harbinger drop. Let's go over it. So it's an Odachi base, 70 melee damage flat, very nice. You also get anywhere from 100 to 170 melee critical strike multiplier, very nice. But you're trying to find a high one, right? 1 to 2 LP, right? I've only ever found 1 LP, so I'm just gonna stick with that assumption that you got 1 LP. In this case, I've gone for melee void damage. You might go for something else depending on your build. Lethal Mirage, that's for our rogue friends. Dexterity, we've already gone over that. We don't care about the lightning pin, but the void pin is very, very enticing. If I was a dexterity stacking build, we'd be getting a lot of void pin. At this point, I'm getting some extra nice to haves. Melee lightning damage, we actually do benefit from this. It is melee tagged, but we are not scaling the lightning damage a ton. We're getting the melee damage, but we're not able to scale the lightning damage a whole lot because of all our extra void percent increased scaling. But hey, it's still flat damage, right? It's still melee damage. We really want the melee void damage. You get anywhere from 24 to 56 flat melee void damage, which if we look at this one, this is a T6 slammed Black Blade of Chaos. We can see the range is 73 to 91. So 56 is somewhere around tier 5 roughly for melee void damage, at least on a two-hander. I think that's pretty good. Pretty good to get for free. You also get a shock chance. If you didn't know, shock chance, it is an ailment. We're not really doing damage with this, but what it does is it does increase our stun chance against the enemy. Stacks up to 10 times, right? So it's less effective against bosses, but the stun chance is really nice against like your rare enemies, that sort of thing. Stacking up to 10 times, this is good for champions, bosses, that sort of thing. I really do like this. You get a ton of stuns with Black Blade of Chaos. It feels pretty good. And then we've already gone over the Time Rot chance. We're not really scaling Time Rot for our particular build. Let's go ahead and talk about why I feel this weapon is good for Rive and melee builds in general, but it is not as good as it was before in Cycle 1.1. So in Cycle 1.1, we had Volatile Reversal. It did a ton of extra damage. It also had a node called Food for Worms. Food for Worms, you would do extra damage to the enemy based off of your Time Rot, right? You would do all this extra damage based off your time, the amount of Time Rot on the enemy. So I've kind of gone over how there wasn't too many sources of Time Rot back in Cycle 1.1. Well, Black Blade of Chaos was a shining beacon back then, and also on top of it, it just looks really cool. I love these Odachi bases. They just look freaking awesome. So it was really good back then. Nowadays, I think it's still really good. I'm obviously basing my entire build off of it. I did it in Cycle 1.1. I wanted to revisit it. It's still very good. There might be some better options out there. I'll go over that in the build guide. It goes live on Monday, May 19th. Be sure to check it out. Anyway, guys, I'm Babbling Bike. I like to do build guides. I like to do commentary. I like to do these unique deep dives. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, leave a like, possibly subscribe if you feel like I'm kind of stumbling here. Possibly subscribe if you want to see me talk cohesively later on in the future. I'm kind of tired right now. Sorry, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. All relevant links in the description down below. Anyway, you guys take care. Peace out.